Hi, boys and girls. In reading, we are still talking about synthesizing. Remember, synthesizing means to take what you already know, our schema, and the new information that we learn as we read a book, and then create a new understanding or new schema, really. Like, I thought I knew this, but now I have more information, and so now I think this. And we've been practicing synthesizing while reading fiction books so far, like in the book Charlie Anderson and in the book My Lucky Day with the Fox and the Pig. So as we were reading both of those books, we're going along and we used our schema to make decisions or to think that we knew what was going on in the story. But then as the story continued, we got new information and we changed our minds. We changed our thinking. And we came up with a new understanding, and that's great. Good readers do that. They don't just stick with one thing. As they grow and change while they read, they keep changing their mind so that they have a more accurate or correct understanding. Now, I want to tell you that you can synthesize when you read anything. You can synthesize when you read directions on how to play Monopoly. I might think I know, but as I read the directions, maybe I realize, oh, I was playing it wrong this whole time. We synthesize all the time. So I'm going to show you how to synthesize while reading a nonfiction or a teaching book. And I decided to pick a book that I've never read before. I picked one that I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up synthesizing while I'm reading. And Mrs. Kimmel likes to pick books that she's never read before because then you get to watch me synthesize like in real life. You know, I'm not like preparing it ahead of time. It's happening right in the moment. So you can see how my brain is thinking and how I change my mind as I go along. Okay? Because that's real. You need to see what it's like when it really happens. So the book I have is called The Strange Story of Ketchup. All right. So I've got a new graphic organizer here, but it's really the same basic thing. It says book title, author, and draw what you synthesize. So it's telling me to draw, but I'm going to write. So my book title is The Strange Story of Ketchup. Now, I know about ketchup. I have schema about ketchup. I use it on my hamburgers. I use it on my hot dogs. I use it on my meatloaf. I use it with my French fries. It's red. It's kind of sweet. It's made from tomatoes. That's pretty much what I know about ketchup. Okay? So at first I thought that's kind of what I could write because that's all I really know about ketchup. Okay? But because of the title of this book, I have a feeling it's going to tell me something surprising that I don't already know because it says the strange story. If something is strange, that means that we wouldn't expect it. It's not normal, right? It's unique or different. So they're going to tell me probably that something interesting happened in order to make the first ketchup. And I don't know that yet, so that's how I know I'm going to synthesize in this book, because of the title. So, what I'm going to write in my first bubble. At first I thought ketchup is good on some foods. It is sweet and made from tomatoes. Okay, so I wrote some basic things down about what I know about ketchup before I'm even starting. Because as I go along, I have a feeling I'm going to change my mind a little bit. Here we go. Pass the ketchup. You're out to dinner with your family and you can't wait to dig into a delicious plate of hot fries. But wait, something is missing. You need ketchup. Boy, now that's a great lead right there, isn't it? Wow, they were talking to me, the reader, and they made me feel like I was really there. That was a really good lead. Let's see. French fries taste even better when you dip them into some tangy ketchup. You probably don't think much about ketchup when you are eating it, but the next time you squirt the tomatoey sauce onto a burger or fries, there's something you should stop and think about. Hundreds of years ago, people would have been scared to eat ketchup. Back then, people thought tomatoes were deadly. Whoa, already I didn't know that, okay? So I'm gonna wait before I write anything else on my paper though. I'm gonna save the sidebars for right now. I'm just gonna stick with the main thing. The deadly tomato. People thought tomatoes were dangerous to eat because tomato plants are a kind of plant called a nightshade. Most nightshades are poisonous to humans, and some nightshades are deadly. So people were too scared to even taste a tomato. Even though nobody ate tomatoes, people in one part of the world still ate ketchup. But their ketchup was nothing like the tomato ketchup we eat today. Their ketchup was brown, thin, and salty. And believe it or not, the sauce was made of fish. Ew, gross. So I'm already thinking some different things. Let's see. For hundreds of years, people in one part of the world used brown fish sauce to give their food an extra kick of flavor. When traders from far away tried the tasty sauce, they loved it too. They began making the salty sauce when they returned home. The fish sauce made plain, boring food taste much better, so people tried making ketchup from other things too. Soon, shoppers had many kinds of ketchup to buy and enjoy. The three most popular flavors were mushroom, fish, and walnut. But one kind of ketchup was missing: tomato ketchup. Tomatoes were not added to these sauces because people still believed tomatoes were poisonous. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Okay, so I think so many things right now. Okay, now I think ketchup is not just tomato. Like, the only ketchup I know that exists right now is red tomato. Like, I actually wrote that here. Ketchup is good on some foods. It's sweet and made from tomatoes. But now I think ketchup could be anything because they're saying their ketchup was made of fish, mushroom, and walnuts. That's crazy. And I also now know that people used to think tomatoes were poisonous. So I have a lot of new information, so I'm synthesizing. My knowledge of tomato ketchup, or just ketchup in general, is totally different now. I think totally differently now because I've learned. Learning has happened. That new information is learning. Okay, so let's see. What do I think now? Ketchup can, oops, that goes down here. I'm gonna write, as I read, ketchup can be made from many things, like fish, walnuts. Gosh, what was that other thing they said? I have to go back and look. Fish, walnuts, and mushrooms. Crazy. That stuff sounds gross to me. I mean, maybe mushrooms. They put mushrooms in spaghetti sauce. Okay, so now I think that ketchup can be other things. This is crazy. I didn't have room to write that ketchup is deadly, or tomatoes are deadly. But we'll keep reading. I can't wait to learn more. Over time, people learned that tomatoes weren't poisonous. Even better, tomatoes were delicious and healthy too. A few doctors claimed the tomato was so healthy it could cure many illnesses. They began making tomato ketchup, but it wasn't to add flavor to food. The ketchup was put into pills and sold as medicine. Ha! The first tomato ketchup was medicine. That's crazy. Ads about the tomato ketchup pills spread everywhere. Some ads said the pills could cure illnesses. Others said the amazing pills could fix broken bones. That's ridiculous. People rushed out to buy the new medicine to cure their problems, but the ads weren't true. Yeah, we kind of knew that, didn't we? Yes, tomatoes have many vitamins people need for a healthy body, but tomatoes can't actually cure a sick person or heal bones. People did not give up on tomato ketchup, however. They had grown to love its taste and began putting it on their food. That's crazy. So now I learned that they don't just think tomatoes are bad for them, they think they're really good for them, and they sold them as pills first. Okay, I'm gonna keep reading. People couldn't get enough of tomato ketchup, so companies began making bottles and bottles of the tangy sauce. But the companies weren't very careful. They often used spoiled tomatoes, and shoppers opening new ketchup bottles often found rotten or moldy gunk inside. Gross. This is crazy. Oh, here we go. A businessman named Henry J. Heinz came to ketchup's rescue. He made sure his ketchup was pure and safe to eat. Ketchup lovers no longer had to worry about opening a bottle and finding mold inside. Hey, Mr. Heinz made the first ketchup that was good. Around the world, the rest, as they say, is history. Tomato ketchup's popularity grew and spread. Today, millions of people around the world enjoy ketchup's tangy, tomatoey taste. The next time you dip your fries into delicious ketchup, remember that things aren't always the way they seem. You probably can't imagine the red tomato sauce any other way, but the fact is, ketchup had a brown and fishy start long ago, and then it went from being seen as poison to medicine, and finally to food. Ketchup may be a common part of many meals, but its story isn't as simple as most people think. Okay, so as I read, I learned that ketchup, so first I thought it was just something that got on food and it was made from tomatoes. Then I learned that ketchup could be made from many, many things and that people used to think they were dangerous. I think I'm going to add that up here. People thought tomatoes were dangerous. Now I think that ketchup took a while to be invented to taste how it does today. Because it went through and talked about the mold, it went through and talked about how they thought it was poisonous, and then they thought it was medicine, and they made it as pills. So now I think a lot of different things now. I've learned a lot just about ketchup. So I don't just think that it's made from tomatoes and it's sweet now. Now I know its history. I know more about tomatoes. So I synthesized my understanding of, not tomatoes, but ketchup. I synthesized my learning of ketchup as I read the book. So I'm going to try to find you a nonfiction book that I think is going to have some information that's going to be surprising to you, for you to listen to. And I want you to tell me, you know, so this is also kind of like what I know and what I learned, kind of like a KWL chart. So just tell me kind of what you thought in the beginning, what you started to kind of learn in the middle, and maybe any big ahas you had by the end. Okay, so I hope you have fun learning about something new, like I liked learning about ketchup.